Hello friends, how are you today? I am so happy to be here to talk with you about the Schumann resonance and the human experience of the energies. So I talk about the Schumann from an analytical perspective and from an intuitive perspective. And I focus on the science but also the spiritual, because to me there is no separation. The Schumann resonance, for those of you who are new, is from 0 to 40 hertz on this chart. There are a couple resonances that go higher, but these four that are by color on the chart are what I focus on in this video, because that's the data that I have available to me. And so human brain waves happen to actually be in this range coincidentally. And so this energy is in the air all around us. It's at the level that our brain waves can interact with and perhaps generate. And that's why I use the Schumann resonance chart images as a map of human consciousness. So let's see what we are up to, what the human experience might be. This is the chart for December 24th. Oh, and could you please like the video and subscribe? That really helps me with the algorithms. And I just want to let you know I will have courses coming up in the new year, and they'll be online. You won't have to be available at the exact time. That's how I did them in 2022. But this year I want to make it more accessible to more people. And so it's going to be so exciting. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to focus on is the amazing blue at the bottom of the chart. Now, this is the area of spiritual brainwaves, so around 36 to 40, and high beta. So our deeply complex thinking. It's like we are offline right now. The chart is just almost solid blue. And it's been this way. This is the chart from December 24th, but this is the chart for the almost previous 3 days from about the solstice. So the 20th, the 21st, and the 22nd. The 21st was the date of the solstice here in the Pacific, California, Pacific time zone. So you can see that this has been going on for several days, and I believe it correlates with both the solstice and the days of darkness prior to December 25th. Why is that? It's because the Gregorian calendar has 3 days of darkness between the solstice and Christmas, when the Christ light comes to the earth, right? The birth of Christ. So the soul, the light of Christ, landed on the earth. That is how the story goes, but that is the energy mechanism. And it is based in science. I'm going to show you that in a second. So it's very, very exciting. Now, here's the thing. Because the Gregorian calendar does not exactly reflect the seasons, what happens is that the actual season is really related to the latitude and longitude where you are at. So let me quickly show you this. So I'm going to start with San Francisco, and this website is really, really good. They want people to share their information. So it's holiday-info. And you can either Google it like this, holiday-info, and you can do sunrise and sunset in your city and state or country, town and country in December. And then you should get the whole list for December that I'm going to show you. And I'll put the link down below just so you have that. So here's San Francisco. Okay, so what we're looking at here is day length and date. So what you can see is that the day length decreases almost by a minute a day until we get to the solstice. Now, as we get closer to the solstice, it actually can lengthen depending on your latitude and longitude. Like, for example, here, 1, 2, 3, 4, the day length was, just changing by seconds for 4 days. But then at the solstice, we get to the least amount of daylight in the day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so in San Francisco, it's 6 days of darkness. So from the change in time from 9:33 to 9:32, that's essentially the solstice, right? It's the heralding of these days of darkness. And then what you see here is, and it actually really nicely matches for San Francisco, amazingly, the light returns on Christmas, December 25th. And then what you can see is that there's 6 days of darkness, and then we have 1 extra minute of light. What does that mean, 6 days of darkness? There's the least amount of sun, of daylight during the day available to us. So this changes, like I said, depending on where you are. So here's Madison, Wisconsin. I did a few places in the United States just to show you the differences seasonally and how it differs from the Gregorian, our Gregorian calendar. So here's December 18th in Madison, Wisconsin, up north, and you decrease by 1 minute, okay, to the lowest amount of daylight length from the 17th to the 18th. And then on the 25th in Madison, again, we have 1 extra minute of light. So that's the science, right? And the energetic, the spiritual, is the story of the birth of Christ. The light comes to the planet, right? And invites awakening, invites expansion of consciousness. We start to slowly move out of our slumber. We start to slowly move out of our sleep. And as we approach from Christmas, as we approach spring. And in the southern hemisphere, obviously, this happens in this summer here. Anyway, so I just want to show you a couple more. This is New York City, I believe. No, Jacksonville, Florida. Okay, so you have a lot. The 17th to the 18th is essentially the solstice. Then you have all these days of darkness until the 26th when the light comes. Then here, what's this? This is Phoenix. I just tested a few other places to see, because I wanted to show you that it really depends on where you live. So here, the 19th to the 20th, 9 hours and 56 minutes to 55. This is the solstice, then 1, 2, 3, 4 days of darkness, in quote, meaning the most darkness in that location of the entire year. Isn't that cool? So here's the thing. Spiritually, this is a time of rest, and that is what this chart is saying, which by the way, is from the Northern Hemisphere. And it's really interesting because I'm just wondering about the Southern Hemisphere and how it relates with the North and the resting period here. Maybe there's an honoring that goes on both sides of the planet. Okay, I'm going to need to think about that because it's like an opposition, and the way that you were in astrology, for example, or, two opposing polarized points. It's like the idea of that and energy, and the way you resolve that is to accept and love both sides of the polarity. And so maybe with our brothers and sisters in the Southern Hemisphere, we do this together, and maybe we do it with them at our summer solstice. I don't know. I'm going to have to research that. I love this stuff. Okay, so in the past, we've gotten like a huge flow of light. I think it was last year that we got that. I've just been thinking about the contrast between when we have had that at the solstice, and this time we get a square. Okay, so let me just make this bigger. And you see here it's on the 20th. It was the 21st here in the Pacific, but like you can see, it varies by location. The time and date varies by location. So it's basically a repeating square. Okay, so we've got, here's a square, and then here's this, it's almost a square. And then it repeats and it repeats. And it's so interesting because it drops down into the higher hertz. So this square emanates from our unconscious and then drops into our mid-beta thinking, so more engaged thinking, and then starting to touch the high beta here. And it's like literally half of it is above and half of it is below 20 hertz, which has been lit up for a few weeks in the chart, and where where humanity has had a lot of engagement. It's really, really interesting. You might hear that the fan is on my computer, but I've been working all day on the computer, and I guess it's a little hot. So what I wanted to say is that this is a time for us to rest and connect with, connect with God, connect with our divinity, if possible. And I know that if you celebrate Christmas, for example, you're just running around and it's crazy. But the offer here, the beauty, and you can do this with a simple intention that I intend that, that part of me celebrates and engages with the rest during the days of darkness before Christmas Day, whatever day that happens to be, in your location when you get 1 extra minute of light, or the 25th. Okay, so now I want to show you something interesting in the black charts very quickly. The yellow has been doing something very strange. All right, now I want to show you this because you can really see it in the amplitudes here. Do you see these flat lines? Now, it's really interesting. It flatlined here until about 8 on the chart, 8 a.m. Now, this is interesting. Look at this. It just flatlined here. This was about 22 and then to 17 hours, okay, on the 23rd. And then it went crazy. And it went up to 23. So that's kind of that's mildly powerful, mildly strong. But what's interesting is that the frequencies were kind of held to, especially at the beginning, to a certain range. And there was a couple periods where you had a very much narrowing and flattening of the frequencies, and the entire time a narrowing. And then look at this. Oh my gosh. This is, this is very unusual, especially these flat lines where it's at the exact same level. Now, this is what I'm going to tell you. This looks like manipulation. I'm just saying, it's just a guess. It's just a thought, but this looks like manipulation because the other times when we have had this kind of flatlining have always been when the technological effect has done some very strange things. Okay, including generate amazing patterns. So is the technological effect operating behind the scenes and now we can't see it, or some other kind of frequency manipulation going on? That is a question. It is happening in the yellow. You're not seeing this in the white or the red or the green. The yellow, in my view, is the non-physical closest to the human being. And so it is happening, and most of us are not aware of this. So it's happening essentially in a way in the shadow aspects of each of us, in the shadow aspects of our personality. Now, if you're energy sensitive, you might sense something, and this can be dealt with. Any kind of manipulation like this can simply be dealt with by declaring whether or not you consent to engage this. And I do not consent. And the reason I don't consent is because I claim this body for my soul, and my soul sets the frequencies, amplitudes, qualities, and the resonances that I either generate or engage with. Okay. And so simply by understanding and evoking your divine authority, you can do amazing things. Okay, I'm just telling you. That's a story for another day. But you can see again here, see the flatlining? What is this? This is the Yeah, this is the amplitudes. Okay, so that was the frequencies. This is, and then there was a flatlining in the qualities too. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's a general manipulation of this resonance range here. 14.6 to 12.6 hertz. That's my guess. Okay. All right. Now, I want to talk a little bit for a moment about the darkness. Okay, the darkness, the days of darkness here. When our critical thinking, our super engaged, complex thinking is offline, we might feel like, I can't get organized, I can't deal with this, and we may generate stress because of that. To the extent that you can, even if it's 30 seconds, even if it's 5, it makes a difference. But if you can take a part of the day and commit to yourself, I am breathing. I'm breathing with the divinity that I am. I'm accessing the rest available to me until the light returns to earth, right? Until the day lengthens. And our brothers and sisters in the South we can all join together doing this, right? Because half of humanity, or some, I don't know how the population spreads, but a portion of humanity is experiencing this in one hemisphere, another portion is experiencing it in the other. And I want to also say that my intuitive interpretation of the square at the solstice is that the next 6 months are about structure and repeating structures, building structures, and about bringing the structure that's from our subconscious, from our deepest desires at the soul level, and bringing that more out into our reality. Because when we're acting in the world, right, when we're pursuing a tactic or a strategy, right? Okay, I'm going to achieve this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to build this. We use our more engaged brain waves. And so that's what this is saying to me. Create the structure, dream it, and then bring it here. And oh, I just saw this. Do you see this little guy here? Wow. I've just seen it change in my mind a couple times from sort of a little entity, in which case, I intend the clearing of that, to like almost like a priest bringing like an offering, to, maybe someone getting up and going to work. It looks male to me, which makes sense because a square is a more masculine object, energetically. But it's so fascinating. Well, I wonder what this means. All right, I may have more interpretation for that later, because I'm going to come out with my astrology report, and the astrology report is super detailed. It's going to be great. I think you guys will love it, and I'm going to give it away as a Christmas gift this year. At some point, I'm going to start charging for it, but right now I'm just test marketing it and seeing how it is received. I wanted to share with you guys a little more personally, because it's near Christmas and I feel like connecting with my friends. And I had a dream about you guys. I had a dream about my audience a couple days ago, or maybe it was 2 or 3 or 4 days ago, and it was a good dream. It was a good dream, and I just wanted to say that I appreciate all of you. I'm very grateful for all of you. I'm so grateful for you subscribing to my channel, for following me on social media, and for engaging with me there. And I really appreciate our interactions when we have them in the comments section. Sometimes people will tweet to me or message to me, someone created a beautiful drawing of one of my quotes. They just put it with this beautiful drawing. I put it on Twitter, or beautiful art. And so thank you very much. I think their name is Trinfinity, something like that. But it's on my Twitter, and it's just, I just really thank you guys and express my gratitude. Now, I wanted to just mention, I just wanted to talk a little bit about 2022. 2022 has been amazing in that I pursued, I kept putting out videos, but it was an extremely challenging year for me personally, as I'm sure it was for possibly all of us. The last 3 years have just been literally incredible. But for many personal reasons, it was very difficult. And I thought that difficulty would sort of alleviate once I got past losing my job last October, but it did not. It got more intense, and then until it peaked in June or July, and I thought, okay, now I'm going to really start rolling out all these things I really want to do beyond my videos, and including reigniting my Substack. And I was just able to keep putting out the videos. And so I apologize to those of you who've been on the Substack where where I haven't sent it out recently. That's why. And so I'm grateful for your presence there, and I will be restarting that soon. And the next thing is that I'm not complaining. I just want to share how it was for me. And so I just wanted to let you know that my whole focus was on keeping going with the videos and keeping going with my key social media presences and just keeping that up despite the challenges. And this makes me so filled with joy that I'm grateful to be able to share my thoughts and videos on energy with you. And I also wanted to apologize to anyone where I did not get back to you this year, or we had a miscommunication or a problem scheduling, or I didn't reply to your email, because there are people I know that wanted to work with me, but I wasn't able to get back to you. And the thing is that I wasn't in the right state to support you. So the people that I got back to was at the times where I could do that work with others. And then, then where I didn't, I apologize. And it wasn't personal. It's just that I had a lot on my plate. So I wish I had replied immediately to every email, but I did not. So I just want to say I really appreciate you, and communication with you all is, after putting out the videos, my top priority for next year. So the last, I'd say 3 weeks or so, I've been feeling very shy about my videos, and you might have noticed there's been a longer time between video days. And as much as I don't want this to be the case, I have something like 8 squares to my moon on my astrology chart. I mean, it's just, maybe it's only 6, I don't know. But there are times when I get into an emotional state, and sometimes when I'm not doing the video, it could be that something's going on, but sometimes it's that I'm so wrapped up in feelings. And a lot of times I'm very critical about myself. I very much want to do a good job, and sometimes I just get this stuff. Sometimes I just let it get to me. So during these 3 days of darkness, I just wanted to share with you how important you all are to me, and what has gone on for me the past year. Everything has resolved in the fall into winter very, very positively, despite the craziness in the world. And so that's the good news. And so now I just burn the past with the violet flame, appreciate the wonderful engagements I have had with you guys and the beauty of being here with you and how much joy it brings to my heart, and burn up anything that's not in alignment with the highest good. And that's a very Plutonian, mechanism, using the violet flame to burn off negative energy. And as you build, as you dream, if you're in the northern hemisphere, as you dream on the seeds of what you wish to build, okay, that's kind of like this here, over the next coming year. And in the southern hemisphere, as you act, right, on what you dreamed of during your winter, as you begin to do that, and even as you approach the harvest, right, to bring these spiritual techniques and tools to bear, to burn off what is no longer in your highest good, what is no longer working for you, what was a low or denser energy or emotion from the past, and allow yourself to receive the light again, right? To go to zero point, which is a pure connection with divinity, the 3 days of darkness, okay? And then to come out of that renewed, refreshed, with the light again shining for you, right? The light of your own soul brightening and leading you forward. And that is my prayer for myself and for you all, in alignment with the highest good. Merry Christmas to those who celebrate it. Not all of you do, and I really, really appreciate those of you who watch my videos and you understand that when I'm talking about God, I'm talking about the all that is. And I know I talk about it from a Christian perspective, which is dear to my heart. And I appreciate all of you who watch my videos, who are from different practices and different religions, because I know that you're all out there because you use your language, and I recognize it. I recognize when you tell me blessed be in the comments who you are, and I recognize when you email me, as dear Margaret did, Merry Christmas, without mentioning the fact that she is Muslim. And I just so appreciate it. Not that she didn't mention it, but I know that she's Muslim, and she's wishing me just a wonderful holiday. And I wish you a wonderful holiday for your holidays. And it just really touches my heart, that we can share in this way and find the commonality. And truly, we are all of the one Creator. Truly we are. The soul. We are of the soul light. In my view, the light of Christ is the name of the soul light. And Jesus fully embodied that to, his fullest extent, 100%, which is why he was called God by many people, because the soul light is the living flame of the Creator. And when the statues of Jesus, when you see them and he's pointing to his heart, there's a very famous painting of the light coming out of his heart as he's pointing to that space, right? And I think it's blue, yellow, and red, or blue, white, and red, I don't know. Which is a representation of the light pouring out of his heart. But the fact that he's pointing to his heart, right, in so many images is important. Why? Because that is where the soul emanates. That is where the Christ light emanates from in the human body. Although it emanates, we are animated by the light of the Creator, the living spark of God, the Most High, the Creator of the universe, that we are. We are animated by that light. But the reason he's shown that way is because, in my view, that is the message that is being communicated. And the rays of light in the famous painting emulate the trifold flame in the heart, right? The living flame of God. And when we visually see light expressed, right, we see it in like 3 colors or however many it is mixed together, or all the colors, right, which all the colors together. So that is what that's about, and that is the true meaning of this season, and how it relates to the science and the movement of the earth and the sun. So I wish you well. Merry Christmas. God bless you. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Thank you.